Hello there, great people. How are you? Happy Higher Self Wednesday. I am so glad to be back with you. I am so looking forward to what we're going to do today. I love these Wednesdays. I love studying for them. I'm learning so much. I hope you're learning a lot too as well. And I love the fact that you are responding to me in such positive ways. Thank you so much. My name is Karen White, and I am the author of this book, Changing the Game Plan. And this is a workbook that I have put together that is actually 57 pages long. And I put it together, and it is a workbook that shows you how I work the 12 steps to change my life. It is absolutely great. I love this workbook. It just is step by step. It's broken out. It's very simple. And it just gives you that understanding of what the sponsor does versus the sponsee needs to do to get the steps going, the time frame, and then the step-by-step, precept-by-precept way that I work the steps. It is my experience, strength, and hope, so take what you like and leave the rest. But I just wanted to share it with you because it works. It worked for me. It's worked for hundreds, maybe even thousands of other people that I have sponsored over 34 plus years in these rooms, and I love these rooms. I'm on both sides of these rooms. I have a addictive personality as well as a non-personality, and I am in both sides, and I love the 12-step programs. And no matter what program you're in, this book will work for you. I only use 4 books. I use the AA Big Book, which is our Bible. So no matter what program you're in, 12-step, you need to have that because that's where the 12 steps come from. And yes, we can use the Big Book no matter what program that you're in. I have those questions asked to me all the time. Yes, you need to read the Big Book because that is the original book that has written all the steps and told us how to work the steps. I have the AA 12 and 12, the Al-Anon 12 and 12, because that's the original Al-Anon literature, and Al-Anon is the original non-program. And so no matter what you're in, Nar-Anon or codependency, whatever non-program you're in, Al-Anon is the original literature, and it is very helpful. And I also use the ODAT, and those are the 4 books that I use. My book, Changing the Game Plan, is available to you on Amazon.com, so you can go out there and order it. It is to be worked with a sponsor or a clergyman or a therapist or someone or a close friend in the program or something, but it is meant to work with somebody. It's not a standalone, you work it on your own because you need the input. You need somebody that sees what you can't see to help you get through these steps, and also somebody that has the wisdom of the program that you're in so that they could share their experience, strength, and hope with you to help you to change. So I'm very excited about it. As I say, take what you like and leave the rest. It is my program, but go out, order it, and try it. I think you would do very well with it. I'm getting great feedbacks on it, and I have, like I said, sponsored so many people, and they know that this is the way that we've worked the steps, and it's worked for them. So I'm excited. Thank you for reaching out to me. Listen, you can reach me at programchild.net in the comments sections. Yes, I'm available to speak. I've been asked. Yes, I'm available. I've had therapists ask me. Yes, I do 12-step coaching. Yes to a lot of it. If there's any no's, I'll let you know when you go out on the comments section and ask me what you want to ask me. That is the only way you can reach me, through programchild.net in the comments section, okay? So I'm excited. Let's jump in. We have a lot to cover. We're on step 3, and this is the month of March, and so we're doing step 3. And today we're going to be doing step 3 out of the AA 12 and 12. If you missed any of these other videos, go back. We start off with the big book, and then we move into the AA 12 and 12, then we move into the Al-Anon 12 and 12, and then we move into the ODAT. So we just cover the whole month, covers all the 4 of those books on that one step. So let's jump in. One of the things that I really love doing, and it's in my book, and I do this with anybody that I work with, is I make them look up every single word in the step. Yes, because that's very important, because any of us that come in the 12-step room, we don't know what things mean, and we have assumed and just caused a whole bunch of chaos. And so understanding what every single word means in that step will help us to get the understanding that we need to make the changes that we need to make so that we can change our life and make our life better and start heading down the path that we really want to live by and be in with people and family and work environments, everything. I always say the 12 steps, no matter what program you're in, even though I'm reading from these 4 books, just put your program in there, because your program, no matter what you're in, Gamblers Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Sex Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, whatever, codependency, all this comes from the big book. Okay, so whenever you hear me say AA or Al-Anon or whatever, it doesn't matter. You put your program in there, and you will see where all this is coming from. One of the reasons that I like looking up the definitions of the words is because as we look at them, it puts everything together. Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob were very precise behind the words that they chose to be in these steps. They chose these words word by word, and so they were very precise. Every single steps has a we, thus, ours, something to let us know that we're not alone in this program, and that's what I love about these steps. Every last one of them lets you know that this is not an individual program. There's a lot of us out here that are suffering, but there is recovery and there is hope, and I'm here to share that with you today. So let's jump in. The definition, first of all, let's talk about step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And that's in italics, and there's a reason for that. Made means produced or manufactured by constructing, shaping, or forming. That's what these steps do. And this one here, step 3, I always say is like a cake, and all the ingredients are getting ready to go in to the cake, and you're putting it all together because you've already worked steps 1 and 2, and now you've understood powerlessness, and you've given it up, and you have hope with step 2, and you know that there's something mightier than you, and now you're learning how to revamp and turn your life over to this power that is greater than you so that you can feel better about your life and yourself and your circumstances. So the next word is a. It's used before a mass noun to indicate a single type or example. Decision. The act of making up one's mind. Firmness or purpose of character. To means in one direction toward a person or a thing. Can you imagine that? And that's what we're doing. We're making a decision. We're shaping and forming into a decision, making up our mind to go in one direction with our life from this point now on. And it goes on and on and on. When you start putting these words together, it's very powerful. Turn means to change positions from side to side or back and forth. The direction of one's way or course. Ours means of, belonging to, or associated in some way with us. Will, the mental facility by which one deliberately chooses or decides upon a course or action, and along with, in addition to, as a consequence, ours, one more time, of belonging to or associated in some way with us. And I love that because when we see the ours and the we's and all that, it takes it away. It shows us that we need help and we need to be around the people that can be like us and that can help us. Lives bring to life, to restore to consciousness. Isn't that something? Lives to restore to consciousness. Over, above, and across from one end or side to the other. Two, in one direction toward a person or thing. Because of that, care, to be concerned or interested. Of, caused by, resulted from. God, your relationship that you have with your God. As, for instance, who's taken into consideration in a specific relation or form. We refers to all people or people in general. Understood, agreed upon by all parties, implied but not stated. Him, her, or imperial majesty. Isn't that powerful? Wow, can you believe that? Well, let's jump in. Let's get started. Let's talk about it. I'm coming to you, the AA 12 and 12, so grab your AA 12 and 12. If you don't have it with you, don't worry about it. These videos you can hear over and over again or just take notes. And the good thing about them, you can share them. You can share them with people that you know that might need the program, that you think that they just want to hear what the steps really are and what they really mean. So these videos are yours. Once I post them, they're yours to do with them as you please. So let's start. Let's jump in here. We left off last week on page 35, at the top of page 35, but we're going to start today on page 37 in the last paragraph. And I'm going to share a lot about me today as far as what this step meant to me, because when I made a decision to turn my will over to the care of God as I understood Him, it showed me that this was going to take time. When you say as we understood Him, that means that it's going to take time. It's not going to be a fast thing. It's not going to happen overnight, Understood means that me and God have to agree upon things. We have to come together in one knowledge. So I have to build this relationship with my higher power. And it's going to take time. Step 3 is letting you know that this is going to take time. So stay in here and stay in this program and don't give up on yourself and don't give up. Just keep trying. Page 37 says, should his own image in the mirror be too awful to comply, as it usually is? It says he might first take a look at the results normal people are getting from self-sufficiency. Everyone he sees, people filled with anger and fear, society breaking up into warring fragments. Each fragment says to the other, we are right and you are wrong. Each such pressure group, if it is strong enough, self-righteously imposes its will upon the rest. And everything, the same thing, is being done on an individual basis. The sum of all this mighty effort is less peace and less brotherhood than before. The philosophy of self-sufficiency is not paying off. Plainly enough, it is a bone-crushing jagnut whose final achievement is ruined. And I love this paragraph because this paragraph talks about the things that we look at to justify our actions of not being self-sufficient. Because a lot of times with me, I can only speak for me and my actions. A lot of times I had to justify what I was doing. You know, you never do anything wrong unless you justify it. And I knew that in my addiction and in my habit, I knew that it was wrong because I was justifying, and there was times that I was covering it up. And it's so funny, all the guilt and shame that happened to me and I felt behind all my things that I did. It was just me most of the time there. And it's so funny how my higher power, which I choose to call God today, must had to been there with me. I know for a fact he was today because I was feeling guilty and shame, and it was just me. And a lot of things that I felt guilty and shame about, I was the only one that knew about it. But I did because I knew that there was something greater than me looking over me, inside of me, and wanting the best for me. Just because I determined how I was going to work God and it didn't work out for me, did not mean that God was not always there loving me and trying to get me to a place of understanding where we could have a relationship that he wanted to help me with my life. And so, you know, self-sufficiency was always something I wanted to have happen fastly. I never wanted it to, I never really took the time to think that being self-sufficient was going to be for the rest of your life. You were always going to have to move into some area where you were going to have to be self-sufficient. But the one thing that was very important is to know that in doing this and being self-sufficient, that I was going to make mistakes. And it was okay. You know, I could pick back up and try again. But the main thing that step 3 was really trying to teach me is get back up and try. Keep trying, keep trying. You will eventually ride that bicycle. And I talked about that last week. You know, you have to want this program. You have to want to change. When you come in here, you hear like you have to bottom out. I believe that. I bottomed out in this program. I had nowhere else to go. So I had to come to that conclusion where I wanted this program. I wanted it so bad. And so I was taught, well, if you want it, then you got to fight. You got to fight for you. And you've got to fight. And so there was a lot of things that I just wasn't doing right. There were so many things, especially when we're coming in to these programs, we're broken. We've broken relationships, our finances, our job. You know, there were so many things that I had to start repairing. And so as I was starting to repair these things, as step 3 says, by becoming self-sufficient in my life because of this step, because I was making these decisions and to turn my will and my life over to the care of God and trying to do things as I was understanding the things that I felt like that God wanted me to do. And I wanted them too. I just didn't want to work for them. They seemed hard. And I wanted something fast. I just did, you know. And this program taught me I had to work, and it was going to take forever, and I would go forever, and they said forever. Just as you learn one thing and you get it right, then you're moving to the next, and you're moving to the next, and you're moving to the next, because we're broken. And I know for me, I was broken into millions of pieces. I know I was shattered, and to put all those pieces back together will take until the day that I die. And I'm so happy that I have a 12-step program that I can use over and over again to get myself together, to get myself back on track. And no matter how many times I have to do it, no matter how many times I have to practice it, no matter how many times I have to call my sponsor, no matter how many times I have to cry, no matter how many times, I keep going today. I want it because I've had so many things that has happened to me that I want now that it's worth the fight for me today. On the bottom of page 37, it says, therefore, we are alcoholics. And remember when I say alcoholics or Al-Anon or whatever I'm saying, just put your program in this. Can consider ourselves fortunate indeed. Each of us have had our own near-fatal encounter with the jagnut of self-will. and has suffered enough under its weight to be willing to look for something better. So it is by circumstance rather than by any virtue that we have been driven to AA. And I love that. It's by circumstance rather than virtue, because I know I didn't come in these rooms. It was my circumstance that brought me into this room. It was my pain and my shame and my agony and my just not wanting to live anymore, and not wanting to be here, and not knowing what to do, and just in trouble, just trouble every which way, left and right, northeast, south, and west, every way. And it goes on to say, so it's by circumstance rather than any virtue that has been that have been driven to AA, have admitted defeat, have acquired the rudiments of faith, and now want to make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to a higher power. I know what step two really started that faith for me, because step two was that hope. And now here I have a chance to start again to trust my decisions if I decide to get help with a higher power. These rooms are already helping me. Coming in these rooms, hearing you guys talk, hearing you guys share your experience, strength, and hope, that's already helping me to have the confidence that I need to start wanting to do something differently, because I see that you guys are good, that you guys got through it, that you guys made it. That's why meetings are so important. And then talking to your sponsor one-on-one and sharing the things that you can't share because you need sponsorship in these groups, because you cannot share in an hour all the things or talk about. And in that sponsorship, you can talk, and you can talk deep, and you can share things with somebody, and they share things with you. It's one more time like the meeting. Your sponsor's sharing her stuff, and then she's also giving you all the stuff from the literature of the big book like we're sharing now, and getting what we need to do to make step three work in ourselves, so we can stop all this self-will run riot and come to the conclusion that we want to be people that can make decisions. We want to make decisions for ourselves, and we just need help. We need our literature, we need our meetings, we need our sponsors. I need a lot of help, and I'm glad that I have it. Aren't you glad that you have these rooms and you have the help that you need and the friendships that you need in these rooms to get things done? I'm going to do page 38 at the bottom, and I'm going to kind of close this. It goes on to say, their dependence upon a higher power worked. As far from being a weakness, this dependence was the chief source of strength. Isn't that funny? Our dependence on a higher power brings us strength. And it brings us the ability to want to push on and keep going and know that it's going to be all right. Keep on. That's what we get in here. Keep going. Know that it's going to be all right. And fight. Fight. It goes, so how exactly can the willing person continue to turn his will and his life over to a higher power? He made a beginning we have seen when he commenced to rely upon AA for the solution of his alcoholic problem. So whatever group that you're in, when you made that decision, that was powerful. By now, though, the chances are that he has become convinced that he has more problems than alcohol. And yes, we have. Because by that time when we come in here, we start stopping stuff, and we still see that when we quit or when the circumstances changes, there's still the issue of how we're thinking and how we're feeling. And that some of these refuse to be solved by all the sheer personal determination and courage he has mustered. And that was me. I was like, oh my God, there's more to this. And I'm still unpeeling. I'm still this onion unpeeling constantly. I'm going, how did you not catch that 13 years ago? Well, it wasn't an issue 13 years ago when I came in the program, but it's an issue now, and I need to correct it and get on it. I'm not perfect. This is not a perfect program by far, and I'm never going to do it perfect. But what I do have today is the tools to continue me on the journey to get better, to look better, to feel better. And I received those tools today. And lastly, it says on page 39, he relies upon the assurance that his many troubles now made more acute because he cannot use alcohol to kill the pain or can be solved too. It says cannot use alcohol to kill the pain can be solved too. And it goes on to say, of course, the sponsor points out that our friend need a sponsor life is still unmanageable even though he is sober. Isn't that something? No matter what we're going through, our addiction, that we're fighting to keep the pain, to keep ourselves busy so we don't feel the feelings and all this kind of stuff, we still, when everything stops and slows down, if you don't deal with it, you still feel the unmanageability, and that will drive you insane. And it goes on to say that, after all, only a bare start of the AA program has been made. Steps 1, 2, and 3 is just a bare portion because you got to get to 12 in here before you're able to complete everything and feel like you worked all the steps. That's all the time that we have. There's more. Get your AA 12 and 12 out on step 3 and read it, and let your higher power, the spirit within you, show you the things that you need to learn, your lessons that you need to learn, and the things that you need to learn to make the changes that you need to make today by for yourself. So I'm so excited to be with you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my experience, strength, and hope with you. As I say at the end of every video, go to meetings, get a sponsor, work the steps, and fight for you. Fight and keep trying. Keep trying. Die trying. Because everything that you're trying, you will achieve and you will get it. Blessings over you today, great people.